Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and today I'm going to be doing a versus video between the New Balance Kawhi and the New Balance Omn1s. Right, so the Omn1s is going for 140 bucks, the Kawhi is going for 160 bucks, so it's a little bit more expensive. If you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box, but let's get it started off with the tracciones. So as far as the traction goes, the Omn1s is using a full-on herringbone traction pattern throughout this entire outsole. The Kawhi is using a brain pattern, is what I'm gonna call it. And they're both really good, right? So I play with the Omn1s indoors. I also play with the Kawhis on the indoor court, but just for a little bit, and it wasn't a full performance test. I was just kind of working out and doing some dribbling drills and stuff like that on the indoor court when the gym was open. It's closed now. Unfortunately, everything's shut down again, but I did get to play in the Kawhis just a little bit. So just take it with a grain of salt, but both of them seem to be really good. On the indoor court, very good bite, seem to pick up a little bit of dust, and the dust pickup is pretty much the same in both of the shoes. On the outdoor court, they both have a very good bite as well. I mean, I was maining the Omn1s for a while. You know, the Omn1s, this is, I have two pairs of this, and this is my new pair. This is my indoor pair, and I have my outdoor pair outside. And you know, I've been playing in that, and the outsole grip is good. Durability on that shoe is really good as well. So Omn1s, very nice, as well as the Kawhi. You know, the Kawhi has a very good bite on the outdoor court as well, and the durability seems really good too, you know. So as far as the traction goes, they're both top tier traction patterns, and I'd have to tie it up. All right, moving on to the heel to toe transition, I'd have to say the Omn1s is a little bit more smooth. So as far as the shape goes, I'd say they're pretty much the same. You know, the heel here in the Omn1s curves up a little bit more, but the shape is pretty damn nice in both of the shoes, as well as here in the forefoot. But the forefoot flex here in the Omn1s is way easier. Look at that. And then here in the Kawhis, it's a good amount stiffer. So I'm putting a lot more force here in the Kawhis. So I mean, if you guys look here at the bottom of the shoe, they're both translucent outsoles, right? And the Omn1s has a midfoot shank plate, which kind of stops here at the start of the forefoot. The Kawhis, on the other hand, it goes all the way here into the forefoot, and it makes it a little bit more stiff. So because of that, I like the Omn1s a little bit better. But here in the Kawhis, you get, it's a little bit more springy. You know, you get that little spring back because of the shank plate. So it all depends on what you like, but for me personally, I like the Omn1s better because it is smoother. As far as the cushioning setup goes, they're both using full-length fuel cell midsoles, and they're both pretty damn nice. I'd say personally for me, I like the Omn1s better a little bit because it is a lot less caged, right? So if you look at the Omn1s, it's pretty much fully exposed all the way here in the heel as well as here in the forefoot. I guess the rubber does come up here a little bit. You know, you get a little bit more grip here, you know, if you're doing a lot of these types of movements like Kyrie. If you look at the Kawhis, it's a good amount more caged. You know, the rubber comes up here in the forefoot as well as here in the back of the heel, and then this external TPU heel counter cages the heel on the lateral and medial side, so you get a little bit less compression in the heel. But for the most part, they feel pretty much the same. You know, like I said, a little bit more compression here in the Omn1s, but they're both soft. You get a nice little bounce as well. Impact protection is good. I was playing it on the outdoor court and my feet didn't hurt at all, and court feel is good. So I mean, I would pretty much tie it up, other than the fact that the Omn1s has a little bit more heel compression. Like the cushion underneath the heel is like softer, you know. Alright, as far as the materials go, obviously the Omn1s is 100 times better. And dude, Kawhi Leonard was playing in the shoe, and this nice knit wasn't an issue for Kawhi Leonard. He's a big dude, and he probably puts a lot of torque on his shoes, and he needs a lot of support, right? But then they just, you know, made it way too stiff here in the Kawhis, and I feel like it's a little, or actually very unnecessary, right? So here in the Omn1s, you have pretty much a nice knit throughout this entire upper. Here in the ankle collar area, or basically in the midfoot where the tongue's supposed to be, you have a lot of ventilation, and you have a nice stretchy knit, you know? It's just a great feeling material, and it's super comfortable, very supportive. It's relatively thin. I would actually say the Kawhi feels a little bit thinner, you know, but the Kawhi is just so much stiffer because of all this fuse, all this glue. They just glue down the material like crazy. So I mean, the Kawhi, it doesn't like pinch your foot or anything, but it's just a lot more stiff. Like the Omn1s feels 100 times more comfortable. As far as the tongue goes, you know, of course, the Omn1s is a one booty upper. The Kawhi does have a tongue that attaches to a material that goes underneath this upper. So yeah, I feel like most people will agree with me, like 99% of people will agree that the Omn1s has better materials. As far as the fit goes, I went true to size for both of the shoes and they both fit me very, very well. The Omn1s does stretch out a little bit though. It is a knit material, and like most knits do, they do stretch out over time. So just watch out for that. The Kawhis don't stretch out at all because it is very, very glued down. So the Omn1s, it gets a little bit more roomy here in the toe box area. The Kawhis, it stays snug. So just watch out for that. Width-wise, I would say it's around the same, slightly narrow. It's just a overall pretty similar fit throughout this entire shoe. Putting the shoe on is a lot easier for me personally here in the Omn1s because you do have the stretchy knit and it opens up a lot. Here in the Kawhis, it breaks in a little bit, it gets a little bit easier to put on, but it's still not as easy to put on as the Omn1s. Of course, that's not a performance feature, but it's just a little quality of life thing that, you know, that I like to have in my shoes. As far as the support and lockdown goes, they're both really, really good. You know, the Omn1s was adequate enough for me, but I mean, if you're looking for a lot of support, the Kawhis are the best shoe, I would say. Besides the Jordan 35, the Kawhi, I would say, is the most supportive shoe that you can get right now, right? So, like I said, the material is super stiff. The overall midsole feels very rigid and stiff as well. And then here on the lateral containment side of things, your foot is not going anywhere, guys. Same with the Omn1s though. I mean, of course, Kawhi Leonard was playing in the shoes like for a whole year, so I mean, you shouldn't have any issues with lateral containment in the Omn1s, but I'm just saying if you want like a necessary amount of support, then the Kawhi is better. As far as ankle support goes, you know, they're both pretty much a mid cut, you know, but for some reason the Omn1s feels a little bit better for ankle support. You know, it restricts the ankle movement just a little bit more than the Kawhis. I don't know what it is, you know, but anyways, there's that. And also just watch out for this back part here in the Kawhis. Like I said in the review, this part is super uncomfortable. And if you can try the shoe on before getting it, I would 100% recommend that you do, just because it didn't break in for me at all. And it was a breaking point for me. I literally cannot play in the Kawhis because of that. All right, as far as the weight goes, I'm gonna say the Kawhi is heavier, right? Yeah, so 14.71 ounces for the Kawhi. And then the Omn1s is 12.98 ounces. So basically 13 ounces. The Omn1s is lighter. It feels more minimal. It feels a lot more smooth as far as like, it's just a lot more flexible. The material is just softer and more comfortable and all that. The Kawhis, like I keep saying, is just a super stiff, rigid shoe. You know, of course, I don't like that. You know, that's not my type of shoe, but I'm sure there are people that do like that. So just watch out for that. They just feel very, very different. And it's just crazy how much the design changed as far as like how the shoe feels on foot from the Omn1s to the Kawhi, because Kawhi Leonard is basically made for Kawhi Leonard, right? All right, as far as the ventilation goes, I would say the Omn1s is just a little bit better. The Kawhi, there's absolutely no airflow at all throughout this entire shoe, not even here in the tongue. Same thing with the Omn1s, but here where the tongue's supposed to be, there is a good amount of ventilation holes, so that does help for ventilation. So I'd have to say the Omn1s is a little bit better for ventilation. As far as the aesthetics go, I like the Omn1s better. You know, this is a great looking shoe. Same with the Kawhi. The Kawhi is a great looking shoe as well. Don't really like the brain pattern all too much. But other than that, the overall silhouette looks dope in my opinion. So tell us what you guys think looks better down in the comment section below. Yeah, so wrapping things up, the Omn1s is $20 cheaper. It performs better in my opinion. So I would suggest going with the Omn1s. And also, the Omn1s comes in the low. So, I mean, if you don't like this high cut, but from my experience, it doesn't really restrict ankle movement that much. I mean, it kind of does, but it's not to the point where it's like super uncomfortable in my opinion. So, I mean, if you want, you can get the low, it's the same price. And also, like, it's not like the Omn1s was bad for support. You know, like for big guys, I feel like it's a great option as well. I mean, it's just a great shoe for everyone. You know, if you're a guard, if you want a quick shoe with really good traction, good cushion, but it's a responsive cushion, very comfortable upper, but also supportive, and also good for big guys, then the Omn1s is a great choice. It was in a lot of my top videos last year. The Kawhis, I don't know. I mean, it's not like, you know, it's more supportive, I would say, but it's like I said, it's not like the Omn1s was bad in that area, right? And, you know, the cushion traction tied up, but, you know, materials are way more comfortable and all that in the Omn1s. So yeah, I would have to say in most aspects, the Omn1s is a better shoe than the Kawhi. And like I said, cheaper. So that about wraps up this versus video. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.